How you doing tonight, paisans? I'm Anthony J. Bucci,
And I'm Liz.
and we are Where Do We Go podcast. So I wanted to tell you guys and thank you, the audience, for all your DMs, all your support. I've gotten some donations to the foundation, Tamar Bucci Foundation, to build my daughter the park I'm wanting to build. I also wanted to tell you guys I got an event coming up November 17th at Premiere on Broadway in Somerville. Gary Levitt and Corinne Zamoto, Charlie Zamoto, they have a beautiful, beautiful place over there. And we're going to have my first fundraiser for my daughter. So anybody in the audience that would like to come down, we'd love to have you. It's going to be a good time. It's live entertainment. We have impersonators. We have unbelievable cash raffles. It's going to be really, really, really remarkable night. And hopefully we're going to have some big name people there, but I'm not sure who yet, so I can't.
Well, I'm there, so that's a big name.
Yeah, you're going to be there. We're going to have Liz, and she's doing autographs.
But really, that's a great thing. Your first kickoff, it's going to be wonderful.
Yeah, oh yeah. I can't wait. And I did an interview with Gary Levitt on his radio show, Gary Levitt and Friends. And I think that was the name of it. And he actually came up with the idea because I had a road race plan for next year, and this just happened. So I'm running with it, and I'm very, very happy.
And that's what a way to honor your daughter. So we got to get this park moving. So that's
Yes, we
awesome.
do.
And speaking about parks, today we have a wonderful guest with us today.
Yes, we have Carlos Soto. Carlos Soto is the father of Victoria Soto, who was tragically killed at Sandy Hook in Connecticut. She was a first grade teacher in the kindergarten, and she gave her life just to help save kids. She hid kids in a closet and told the gunman that they were in an auditorium. Meanwhile, they were in the closet. And so she spared her life to save a lot of children. She was a hero. I met Carlos after my daughter died. I went down to Pennsylvania and volunteered to help build a park for an organization called Where Angels Play. And my biggest fear as a parent after losing my daughter is that she'll be forgotten and her death will go in vain. So I want to do something to carry on her legacy. And she loved children, she loved dogs, and she was in remarkable shape. She was a fitness fanatic, very disciplined girl, and everything she did, but especially with fitness. So my dream is to build this park. That's what the fundraiser is for, to kick off the park, building of the park, try to raise money for the park. And the Tamar Bucci Park, where kids can play, dogs can roam, and people can go and work out. And I can go sit there, not work out, maybe have a coffee. No, maybe work out, and hopefully have a dog someday, and because I can't have them where I live. And
Well, I have 4. You can take each and every one of them every hour of the day over to the park and let them roam.
I know,
That'd
right?
be doing me a favor.
I will, once I can build this.
I know you will. You're awful good like that. So we have Carlos here, and we're going to talk about how people move forward after tragedy, or try to go from, where do we go from here?
Exactly. And Carlos's daughter was killed. My daughter was killed. I'm just telling you guys, tonight's going to be a tough night for me. So I'm going to let you carry the torch tonight, Liz. I'm just probably going to fall back, and because I can already tell I'm going to be emotional, and I don't want to be in the way.
Well, you're never in the way, friend, and that's what we're all here about. I think all of us, through tragedy, has found some way to try to get through it, and whether it be, just talking to each other, or for us, you started your foundation, I started the foundation. I find it therapeutic. Carlos, he started the foundation. So, through tragedy, some wonderful things come out of it as well.
Yep, you're right. And I've got DMs from some really, really nice people showing me support, following me on Instagram. I'm the Convicted Vegan on Instagram, Anthony J. Bucci on Facebook, and I've got all kinds of new friends. And the support is what keeps me going every day, because I'm not, I'm going to be vulnerable. I go to have grief counseling, as you know, and this is a struggle, and it's going to be a struggle the rest of my life.
Well, I think when tragedy strikes, or whatever type of the tragedy is, early on, people are there for you. It's the day-to-day, the daily day, every day of your life when it starts to fade out of people's minds, what you're going through, but it never leaves you. And I think that's the hard part, and that's where you try to, where do you go? How do you move forward?
And that's exactly right, Liz. That's why I'm building the park. Because like I said before, I will never forget my daughter. Every single day, every minute of every day, I think about her. But for her to die the way she did, helping people and then be forgotten, that's why I want to build the park. So I'm going to put a nice monument of her up there and a plaque, something with her name on it. And that way, people can just, Tamabuchi, she gave her life helping somebody, and it'll just continue on for years, long before me, long after I'm gone.
Yeah, that is a great honor, just to memorize her in such a way that she loved life, and to let people play and dogs roam is really a great thing you're doing. So everybody get out there and get to this fundraiser and help Anthony out.
Exactly, and like you always say, if you can't make it.
That's right, if you can't make it, you can donate online, or anything helps.
Yeah, anything helps. No donation is too small. So anyways, we got Carlos Soto waiting to come on.
Carlos is going to tell his story of his sad, terrible day and how it took for hours for him to find out that his daughter actually sadly passed away. And, so I think it's going to be really good.
Yeah, we're probably just going to let him talk and tell his story because we're limited on time. So, the questions we'll ask, probably you'll be asking, because I don't know if I can, function too well. Because like I said, I met Carlos on a park build-out, and we resonated to each other. And since then, he calls me. He makes sure I'm okay, because he's been doing this longer, and, he's worried about me. So I love Carlos. He's a great guy, and he's our next guest.
So let's bring on our friend Carlos.
And where do we go? We'd like you to meet our amazing guest, Carlos Soto, the man I met down in Malvern, Pennsylvania, where I was doing a build-out. Carlos has done dozens of build-outs. He's been in the trenches. He didn't ask for this. This is the hand he was dealt, just like all of us. Carlos, say hello to the audience. And this is Liz Norden. Welcome on the show.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here today with you guys. It's not easy, but it's not hard. A lot of people ask me what happened to me in 2012 when I got a phone call from my ex-wife. I was at work. She said, "Did you hear what happened in Newtown?" I said, "No," because, I'm working out here. She said, "It's been a shooting at Vicky's school." And my ex-wife tried to call her, text her. She was missing. That was the hardest part, to get a phone call during work time, something like that happened. I said, let me find out, because I got a state police in my pattern. And I asked him, "Do you know what's going on in Newtown?" He looked at me kind of strange. I said, "Because my daughter is missing. She's a teacher there." He went on the computer from 3 dead to 26. I said, "Thank you." I called my boss. I said, "Listen, I'm on my way in. I need directions to get to the school." I left Hamden to Milford. It's about 45-minute ride. I think I made it like in 20 minutes. That truck, I had it over 100 miles per hour just to get to the shop. And then when I got there, my boss gave me the directions. I took off out of there burning rubber. My big boss was in a meeting with people from Hartford. I left the parking lot burning rubber. and everything. Got on the highway about 120 miles per hour. Try to see if it's state police would stop me. Anybody? Nobody was there. Everybody was in Newtown. I kept in touch with my kid, telling me, Dad, where are you? I said, I'm on my way. I'm getting there. I got off Route 25. Now I got to take the back roads. A lot of roads was closed. I see like 4 or 5 cops going down with the lights. I just followed them behind. And one of the guys said, oh, you can't go there. I just kept going. When I get to the front, they said, you couldn't go no more from there. I said, well, my daughter's missing. She's one of the teachers. And one of the policemen said, sir, you could park right inside this lot. And another cop came down to pick me up. That was the hardest thing, going through my mind where she's at. And my son, when they saw me, they said, Dad, we're glad you're here. I said, what's going on? I said, we don't know yet. All right. I know a lot of people up there. They was up there, like the Lieutenant Governor, Nancy Wagner. I asked her, Nancy. She came up and said, Carlos, why are you here? I said, my daughter's missing, Victoria Soto. I said, okay, what can you do for me? She said, let me see what I could do. And she went back, talked to the governor. He did not want to release no names out. We're in the firehouse for hours. He's out there with, like a politician, always talking to the media and all that. And we're looking at the TV. And one of the questions came up, they asked them, how many people got shot or killed? He said, well, we're sending kids to different hospitals, Danbury Hospital, Waterbury, St. Rayfields, and all that. He said 26 so far. Okay, when he came back to the firehouse, a person in front asked, you told the media how many people was shot and everything. You're not telling us nothing. We are the parents. He said, well, it's been 26 people dead.
Wow.
That hurt us a lot. And one of the guys, who was right in front of me, he said, why are we here then? He goes, if you're here, it's because one of your kids or one of your persons is dead. That was the hardest thing for us. My daughter, my smallest daughter, called her sister. She was on her way to Vermont for skiing. And they took a picture of her crying on the phone talking to her sister.
I remember that picture. Picture went viral.
Yes, it did.
Yep.
And she had to come back home.
That was your daughter, Jillian.
Yes. And she didn't get to Newtown because at that time my friend Butch, he was a captain of the state police. I said, Butch, get my family out of here. He said, no problem, Carlos. He called one of his guys. He said, take him home, you stay with him.
So you never really got officially told. You just had to.
I got told like at midnight that when Nancy came out, I said, Nancy, I had to know. 99% I know that she's gone, but 1% I'm keeping it open. And she said, let me see what I could do. She went and told the governor. He came out walking with his bodyguard. And he said, well, you know Nancy? I said, yeah, she's a good friend of mine. And I said, what can you tell me about my daughter? He said, well, We don't know yet. And my landlord at that time, Blake, he said, why don't you just tell him the truth instead of beating around the bush? Right away, his bodyguard jumped in front. I said, I don't need this right now. And he left. About 3 minutes later, I see the colonel of the state police walking with his head down. I knew at that time that she was gone. He goes, Mr. Soto, I'm sorry. I said, thank you. That's all he needed for me to say. And I had a lot of friends in state police. They knew like 9:30, 10 o'clock that she was gone. Because when he flipped her body over, she had her ID. He said to his captain, he goes, I know her. Her father worked for the state. And they told him, you had to leave the scene because you were too involved. He said, no, I'm not leaving. I'm doing my job. He couldn't tell us nothing at all because that was his job. And when they told us, Nancy came out and said, Carlos, I couldn't tell you because my boss, I had to respect him too. I said, I understand. She asked me, how you doing? I said, I'm doing okay. She knew I was a diabetic. She goes, you can't go nowhere. I want to have one of the paramedics check you. I said, all right, no problem. They came and checked my sugar. My sugar was over 600.
Wow.
And the paramedic said, you can't go nowhere. You got to go to the hospital. I said, listen, I'm not driving. He's driving me. I got to call my doctor when I leave here. And Nancy looked at me. I said, Nancy, you know me. Okay, I'm not going to do nothing stupid. When I left with him, coming down Route 25, I got a phone call about 12:15 around there. It was one of the media. Told me, oh, we're sorry for your daughter's loss. And I say, how do they know
Before you.
before me?
So can I ask you, Carlos, and not
Yes.
to interrupt, it happened at what time in the morning?
Early in the morning, like 8:30.
8:30. And you didn't officially find out until 12:15 that night?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And when I got home to where my family was at, they was all outside waiting. I said, guys, let's go inside. They all came in. I said, guys, we lost her. She's gone. That was the hardest thing for me to say to my kids. And my daughter said, Dad, do you see the body? I said, no, I didn't. She goes, how do you know? I said, well, a good friend. She told me. And the hardest thing is trying to keep going forward. The way I do it, when I build the playgrounds, a lot of people ask me, Carlos, how can you do it?
So Carlos, can I ask you for the viewers so they know how? So for me, my way of, I felt honoring JP and Paul was to, and also to pay forward the kindness that we were shown because prosthetics are astronomical. And I remember I also didn't know where JP was for like 6 hours later. You know, the streets of Boston was blocked down. It was chaotic. But how did you start the playground aspect of?
Okay, when they built my daughter's playground was number 5. And it was something beautiful because they was building the playground and I went to Paradise Pizza a couple of days before. I said, Jim, I need some food. Because they're building the playground for my daughter. You saw all the guys here. He goes, how many people, Carl? I said, about 100 people. He goes, what do you need? I said, I don't know. He goes, all right, come back Saturday at 12 o'clock. I have everything done for you. I went with my truck. It was so amazed when people could do for you when you ask. My truck in the back, I had like 12 to 20 pizzas. I had chicken tender. I had salad. I had macaroni. You name it, we have from the restaurant, all for free.
I think all of us can speak to a tragedy. Excuse me. How wonderful. You know, there's bad out there. Obviously, you witnessed it. I mean, I witnessed it. Anthony's poor daughter. I don't know if that was an accident, but there's so much. There is bad out there. There's so much better good out there. People come together. It was amazing. I can tell you, it was incredible. Money was not even an issue or a thought for us. My sister said maybe we should start a GoFund for them. They're going to need prosthetics. I just wanted to make sure my kids lived. I didn't care about the money. Mm-hmm. But at the end, people are so good. I would come home day after day with flowers on my steps and food. It just we never got. But I think as a whole, generally, people, they want to help and they don't know how to help, which is why Anthony and I thought about starting a podcast, because when you lose somebody, you're grieving, everybody grieves differently, and it doesn't matter whether it's a loss of a loved one or however, tragedy is tragedy, and it's hard. And how does one move forward? You lost the most precious thing in your life, your daughter. Anthony lost his daughter. I say I got blessed, but I witness my sons daily, struggle on things that, and they're doing wonderful, but it's still, it's awful to witness. So how would you tell, I say this all the time, how do you have somebody, what can you give for advice for people to try and move on after something?
Well, like when I met Anthony in Pennsylvania, okay, this girl, Randa, brought me to him.
Oh, wait, let me just stop you right here, because when you met Anthony, he goes, you should know the guy that I met. He was the great guy ever. And as he's telling me, and he tells me who you are, I was like, Anthony, I know all about him.
And she came up. I was in the truck doing some stuff, for the playground. She goes, Carlos, do you got a man? I said, yeah. She goes, I want you to meet somebody. He's having a rough time. And when I met him, I told them, the easiest way, because people ask, how can you do it? How do you do it, Carlos? It's easy when you start talking to people about it. Because when you hold it inside of you, it will kill you. It will eat you up alive. And I've been through there. That's why I could help people out, like Anthony, because I've been there. And what you guys are doing is beautiful, because you're bringing it out to the people that never had support. And this is going to be my 10-year anniversary of my daughter's death. We're doing a run in Bridgeport this year. Normally we do it in Stratford. Last year we had over 3,200 runners.
That's awesome.
And this year we expect bigger.
That is awesome.
And her foundation is for kids that are going to school to be teachers.
What is the name of the foundation?
Yeah.
Vicky 5K.
Wow.
Or Team Vicky. And that's something big, because we're up to 49 scholarships already. And we followed them for 5 years of college.
Wow.
The first year they get $5,026.
What does that stand for?
The 26 is for the 26 victims.
Oh, wow.
In Newtown. They asked us the same question you asked me. What is the 26 for? It's for them.
Can I ask you, Carlos, did you remain close, or did you know any of the parents that sadly lost children that day, or other?
My family keep close to them. One person that comes to mind a lot to me, when we was coming out of the church, in Lordship, Connecticut, and my friend was the person who ran the whole thing and everything, P. as Zima. And he goes, Carlos, Donna, one of Vicky's students want to say something to you. We said, bring them over. Okay, the parents was right with them. That was the hardest thing for this little girl to say. She kept that in, I'm going to say about 2 weeks or 3 weeks. She said, the only reason I'm alive, because Victoria pushed me out of the way, it took the bullet for me.
Wow.
Her parents never expected that. This little girl was holding this in herself. She saw
Phoenixes to this one.
She saw my daughter pushed out of the way and took the bullet for her.
It must be horrific for
I
these
read about that.
children that witnessed what they witnessed that day, and how, that's the stuff that I say. I don't know how, I know a lot of the marathon survivors that witnessed a lot that day, and I met a lot of police officers and firemen that were heroes that day, and PTSD and what they saw is just horrible.
Yeah, and that was very hard for us. But that was her job, to protect the kids. When we met President Obama for the first time in Newtown, each family had a different room for him to see. When he came to us, he said, she's a hero. What she did, my people are trained to do that, to go in front of me to take the bullet. She wasn't trained. She did what she had to do to protect the kids.
Came from the heart.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that it kept me going, because knowing that what she did to save 17 kids, to give her life away.
I was reading about that, Carlos, and it was amazing. It said that your daughter told the shooter that the kids were in the auditorium, and she had them hidden in closets, and she gave her life up for them. And what's always bothered me is, like, I always ask myself, what was the last thing my daughter was thinking? Did she even know? Did she have time to think? Did the truck just hit her? You know what I mean? And this has got to be so much harder, because, like, this hero, this beautiful girl, knew what she was facing, and she still did what she did. So she is a hero. She's a national.
Oh, she's absolutely
more than a
a
hero.
hero.
She's a saint.
And I go around to a lot of the playgrounds. We're up to 59. I think I did over 30 to 40.
Wow.
And I enjoy it.
What does it take? Maybe you can tell the viewers that they could help Anthony. What does it take to build a park?
Money-wise, I don't know, because when they built my daughter, it was cheaper than today. Prices of everything has gone sky high. I'm not sure.
So the day you found out, you didn't get a definite answer till midnight that night.
Well, about 1:30 in the morning, a state police and the priest went to my ex-wife's house. And they knocked on the door. They said, can we come in? They said, yeah. She goes, we're here because you lost your daughter. She goes, I know already. My ex-wife told me. And they got shot with it. And me and the governor, we didn't see eye to eye for a long time. I went to a lot of events at her school. She graduated from Eastern Connecticut College. And she came up and said, Carlos, the governor's going to be here, my boss. Be nice. I said, Nancy, I'm not going to do nothing stupid. I'm not like that.
You know what's great too, and I know you're going to say this, is the outpouring of people you don't even know that sometimes help you more than those you expected to help you.
Yes. That's why I'm always My phone is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I could help anybody if they need some help to talk.
This guy's helped me tremendously.
You know, because it makes it easier for me to talk to a person that has lost somebody. Like when I met Victoria's parents, the first thing they asked me, how can you do it? And I told them, my daughter's gone, but she's always here. She's the one who helped me to say and what to do. And like I
But
told,
what would you tell somebody that maybe doesn't have the faith that you believe? Because Anthony's very spiritual. You seem like you're spiritual. What could you tell the viewers that are dealing with grief and don't know how to handle it and don't have the attention, the media attention? I know through my own experience with my kids and the loss of the legs, they had the one fund where they got, you know, money, but
Good
somebody
question.
that, you know, that loses their leg, they don't have that.
Not everybody has our exposure.
Yeah.
well, to me, if you believe that, yes, she's gone, but she's always with you. She always gave you signs. And I have seen a lot of miracles through my daughter. And like I told Anthony, his daughter's gone, but she's always by his heart. If you believe that, you will see it. And he told me sometimes he'd be laying down in bed and the lights start flickering. And I told him, that's your daughter. I told him, Dad, I'm here. I haven't leave you. You don't see me body, but my spirit is with you.
You know what was hard for me too was like when I haven't really said much because this is really hitting home and I'm feeling his pain and it's bringing back, you know, memories. And like when my daughter died, I didn't find out till like 4:15 in the morning. The state troopers came to my house, but she got in the accident at 11:30 that night, and people knew and chose not to tell me on purpose. And I'm having a hard time with the fact that I could have been there at the hospital because other people were there as they tried to work on her and stuff, and maybe I could have said a goodbye in her ear or something that night. But I have to live with this every day, and it's not easy. But all right, so thank you so much for coming. Guys, it was a pleasure having Carlos Soto, father of Victoria Soto, the hero from Sandy Hook, one of the heroes. Thank you so much, my brother.
My pleasure to be here.
Carlos, thank you very, very much. So how do they get in touch with you if they need to get in touch with you?
I'm the Convicted Vegan on Instagram. I'm Anthony J. Bucci on Facebook.
And I'm just Liz, Anthony's friend.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.